Alright guys, for all the subscribers, welcome back to the channel, and for all the new viewers, my name is Tall and this is YouTube channel Traveling Tall. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing my family history with you. My family history when it comes to riding Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Now, we've been riding Harley-Davidson since the 1940s. It goes way back to my great uncle, which I interviewed him in this video. So if you'd like to hear my story and my family member story about their Harley-Davidson motorcycles and the experience of having and owning and riding Harley-Davidsons, make sure that you watch the whole video because we have multiple interviews in this one video. And if you'd like to see more content like this, make sure that you give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more content relating to Harley-Davidson motorcycles or just riding motorcycles in general, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and turn on all notifications. And don't forget to comment. I would like to hear what was your favorite part of the video. All right, so let's get into the video. Who's the best rider in the family?
Come on, man. Yeah.
Today, we'll be making another video. Today, we're going to be interviewing my family members and they're going to be talking about their experience with Harley-Davidson motorcycles. Why Harley-Davidson?
That's what we do.
Because I've been riding Harleys all my life.
I was brought up on a Harley-Davidson. My father had a Harley. That's all my father had was Harley-Davidson, so that's all I know.
What do you ride?
17 Ultra, Night Train, Road Glides, and that's really about it.
I'm about a 11th Street Glide.
It's a 2008 Night Ride Special.
So what do you like about riding?
Just being out there, just enjoying the scenery, and it's like a peace of mind.
It's the sound, just the feeling of going down the road and hearing the pipes.
You can go on the back roads and look at things that you normally wouldn't see when you're just, in the car, and just feels free.
It's a sense of freedom. It's almost like a therapy. I enjoy riding with my children and my family and my brothers and everybody. It's a good thing to ride with your family. Like when I was a little boy, I rode behind my uncle. He had a 47 Harley, I remember that.
There's a picture that I have of me. I was maybe 2 years old, sitting on my daddy's Harley. Me and James, he would pick us up and he would put me on the back and James on the front, and we'd come home from after school. I remember those times.
I remember riding on Harley as a young kid, just like here. Riding on the tank, graduating to the back.
Yeah.
So it's been something I always wanted. Just took me a little longer to get mine.
I was with my father, and I remember seeing a reflection in the First Tennessee Bank, sitting on a Harley with my father.
And you liked them ever since then?
I liked him even before the time when I remember that day.
My dad and his best friend, they both had Harleys, and they would get in the middle of the street and ride these figure eights. And I used to think that was the most amazing thing that I've ever seen in my life.
My mom, my dad, friends and everything, they rode a lot. We went to motorcycle races. My mom used to make tail salad, chicken, and we'd go to the races and eat as a family. We would ride behind the motorcycles. As they rode up, we rode in the cars. And it was always family orientated.
Yeah.
Christmas parties, stuff like that, but it was all family orientated.
Riding motorcycles is a huge part of my family's tradition. It's after church on Sunday, everybody changes from the suits to their Harley shirts and gets on their bike and just rides wherever.
Your husband rides the motorcycle.
Yes, he rides the motorcycle.
How many times have you been on the back of his?
Never. I ride my own bike.
You're 74 years old and you still ride your Harley-Davidson. What about somebody who's in their 70s? They're thinking about getting back on the bike.
You change the style of riding when you get older, but you still can do the same thing.
Just like myself, I got one at an older age, so it's not just for the young people, and you don't have to be young to buy one.
We went to Daytona Bike Week, my brothers and my mom and dad.
That was good to have all three of your kids at Daytona on bikes and things. That really was a good. And brother, my brother was there, and we just had a good time.
Well, there was the time you and I went riding around. What was the little town?
St. Augustine.
St. Augustine. Yeah, we were riding our bikes around town. That was fun.
Yeah.
But the best part was going up and down A1A.
We've been to Georgia. We rode to my sister's house, Knoxville, Alabama. been to North Carolina.
Yeah.
We had a few trips.
And we had the North Carolina trip planned, and like 3 days before we had it planned, what'd you do?
I sold my bike probably 4 days before we had it planned. I had found the bike I wanted, and the next day I went and got it. Then you and I left the next morning.
Yeah.
Remember the guy I bought the bike from, he texted me that weekend and asked me how I like the bike, and I told him I'm in North Carolina. I'm loving it.
Yeah. You excited about going on the California trip?
Yeah, that's the main thing. My goal for this summer is to make that trip.
Why do you want to ride your motorcycle to California?
It's just a trip I always thought wanted to take. I always thought about it for a lot of years, and I just never did it. But
What do you think about him at 74 years old taking a 4,600 mile road trip?
I think it's great. Riding a Harley is a part of who he is. I think it's really inspiring to get out there and still follow our dreams, no matter what age we are.
You ride with people that have other brands of motorcycles?
Of course.
I'll ride with anybody. I don't care what you ride. I'll ride with you.
I got two brothers ride, and I got one brother that rides Kawasaki, and I try to convert him over, but I can't convert him, but I'm still working on it.
So would you consider another brand of motorcycle?
Another brand of motorcycle.
Probably not. Probably not. I mean, there's other bikes that I do like. I've seen bikes that I like, but nothing measures up to the Harley-Davidson.
No, I think I always have one.
I'm going to sit down with my dad and his best friend Norman and Norman's wife Margie, and they're going to tell us some stories about riding Harley-Davidsons. What'd you ride first?
68 Honda 350. I got an Army, and I got that Honda when I first got out. So I probably rode it. I rode it probably about 6 months, and then I got that 68 Harley, and then I had Harleys ever since. John Lundy took me up to the Harley shop. Said, I'm gonna get you they used to say motorcycle. I'm gonna get you a motorcycle. He showed me where, and I went up there, and that's when I got my 68 Harley.
I started with a 1971 Honda 450 Scrambler. It was a candy apple orange, and me and JK and Wesley and Frank, we all went down to Daytona the bike week, and I got down there and I seen all them Harleys. I said, when I get back to Tennessee, I'm gonna get me a Harley. And I kept my Honda about 9 months, and I sold it to old Bud, and I got me a 1970 Harley.
I've been riding for how many years now?
Over 46 and a half years.
Since 68, so what is that? That's about close
50
to,
years.
Yeah.
50 years.
Yeah.
Well, 51 years.
Almost 51.
Yeah. And what do you ride now?
17 Ultra.
I ride a 13 Ultra Limited. Like the Harley back in them days, you couldn't go to the Harley-Davidson shop and see Harley-Davidson sitting on the showroom floor. You had to put your name on a waiting list. It might be 2 or 3 years before you can get a Harley.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I mean, they ain't like sitting on the floor now like you see
All
10 or 12 of the same kind sitting in a row. And they didn't have Batwing firings on them. You know,
we put all that stuff on.
Yeah, we put. Like
We had that stuff before Harley-Davidson never had.
Mine had an AM/FM radio, an 8-track tape deck. We put firings on them. We put
Tour pack.
We put the tour packs on them, and we had them painted. We had them painted the same color as the motorcycle.
See, cause back then the saddlebags came white, and all that other stuff, them Batwing ferns and touring pack, they came white. So we had to have all that painted.
I bought my first bike, Harley, from an individual. Like I say, you couldn't go to the Harley shop and find them sitting on the showroom floor. And I kept looking in the paper, and I found one that a guy was selling. He wanted to build him a house, and he wanted some money. And so
my bike was like brand new.
Yeah, it only had 600 miles on it when I bought it. And I took JK with me because I couldn't ride no Harley, and he rode it for me.
What do you mean you couldn't ride a Harley?
Well, it was too big.
He could ride it, he just hadn't rode it.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Yeah.
You know, when you ain't did something. Yeah.
And JK, he went over there with me. He rode it. Told me it was a good motorcycle, and I kept it. That's the one I kept for 35 years. And when I had my little Honda, I just let JK ride my Honda out to Chihowie Park. We'd go out there on Sunday and just ride around to the park, around into where the fair is. Yeah. And I just chug along up and around the road until I learned how to get holding this. And I even told my mother when I got there, it was heavy. And I told my mother, and when I bought this Harley, I said, Mama, I done bought something I can't ride. It was too big to get on, and I was always sore, but now I got over that, and I love it.
Okay, so how long have y'all been riding together?
About 44 and a half years.
Where are some of the places y'all been on a Harley?
Grand Canyon, Outer Banks.
Washington, D.C., we've been to Texas, Louisiana, Arizona, Utah, Wyoming, Kansas, South Dakota, North Carolina, South Carolina, Kentucky, Wisconsin, New York.
Hershey, Pennsylvania.
There's a Harley-Davidson factory, at least, what,
We've toured it twice.
Twice.
The York
plant.
plant.
How many Harley-Davidsons have you had?
Oh, wait a minute, let's see. 5, I believe, counting this one.
Yeah.
I believe, yeah, I got a 68, 74, 03, and a 09, and that, yeah, I had 5.
Okay.
I'm 67. I've had 3 Harleys.
Okay.
1970, 2008, and my present one is a 2013.
Okay.
I'm 74. I know a lot of people in their 60s and 70s and 80s still riding bikes. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why you figure out when you're too old. I guess when you let it fall over.
Yeah,
something.
keep dropping.
And you wreck it and it can't be fixed to you either.
I've been riding on the back of Harley-Davidson when my uncle had a 1947. And ever since I was a little boy, I said I will get me a Harley-Davidson when I got big.
This was the Daytona Silver Dollar Club. They were riding in their attire.
This was our Knoxville club. We were called the Knoxville Ramblers. This is the jumpsuit that we wore when we rode in parades. We've ridden in the Knoxville Christmas Parade before. We've ridden up to Asheville, North Carolina to ride in one of their Shriners Parade. This is probably a
70s, probably.
probably a 70,
Early 70s, too.
72. So I say 1972. Everybody had one.
Everybody had one.
Everybody our jumpsuit. We put
That
on.
was our patch on the back. There's AMA sanction.
Yeah, AMA sanction.
This is my original motorcycle jacket.
Harley-Davidson, original Harley-Davidson jacket.
These were his original for his Honda. He added the visor to his. And I used to ride with a face shield buckled to mine. When I first met him, I'd never ridden before. Matter of fact, I was afraid of a motorcycle. And so I decided, well, I'll try it.
Mm-hmm.
And he took me for a ride. He brought me back safe. He didn't drop me. So I was like, I'm in.
I enjoy riding motorcycles.
Mm-hmm.
I guess in 10 years, me and Margie, we put over 100,000 miles on a motorcycle. We put 65,000 on that 08 in 5 years, and we was going on a charity ride out west, out to Arizona, and we bought this 13 bike to do that with.
I like riding a motorcycle all my life, but I enjoy it more now than I did when I was young.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Because you kind of slowed down, I guess, relaxed.
Yeah.
Back then, a long time ago, when I was young, I know I probably didn't do it. I mean, but I was seeing how fast I could go with it.
No, I can do that, man.
And carrying on, but I learned better than that, and so I enjoy riding more. But like I said, I don't do that kind of stuff now. I like to think I got smarter than that.
I'd like to think you got smarter too.
Are you one of the people that won't ride with people that have other brands of motorcycles?
We'll ride with
you
any.
wanna ride, yeah.
I've ridden with people at our church group, and they had different motorcycles.
Yeah.
So when they met me and Margie, we've got 3 of them on Harleys.
That's what I was gonna say. Them people, a lot of times you ride with other
Yeah.
people, they'll come over to your brand because they just that's what like we did. We had on.
And they all ride. They ride street glides. You know, they fell in love with them street glides.
That's what I ride. That's the best bike. But anyway.
I just like Harleys, and I'll always be a Harley man until I die. Keep mine under cover in the wintertime. This is what I've added. I've added a lighted windshield trim. It's LED, and I've turned them to LEDs. Fender tip light, and turn it into LED. I'm gonna eventually get my LEDs for my front. You wanna see what it look like on?
Sure, yeah.
It's gonna blind you now. Yeah. And I'm gonna get these, I'm gonna turn these into LEDs, so I'm gonna have the front end with LEDs.
Mm-hmm.
I've added these, I had these wheels, this type of wheel on my 2008, which this is a Harley wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the same ones that came on the 2008, but I bought them again in chrome. I've added a rear brake light and rear turn signal, LED turn signals. And I'm gonna turn this rear fender tip in when they put it on sale into LEDs. I'm gonna turn these into my tour pack lights into LEDs. I chose that as my light pattern. Those are Harley-Davidson mirrors when you get your turn signal on.
That does too. Yeah.
That blinks. These are Curiok foot pegs, and these are like in two more positions. You know, if you just want to lay your leg across it, put your foot across it. But that's what that's for. Okay. Heel and toe shifter. This is billet chrome shifters right here, along with the shift rod. We've done the inner chrome primary cover right here. We've done that in chrome. Our heat shields are painted the same color as the dark portion of our motorcycle. This is 2012. It's 2011.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this bike right here won these two trophies right here. That bike right there won 2 trophies, and the one out for best in show, and the one in the garage, just the one in the garage, it won this trophy right here. Yeah, Harleys is what I like because you can customize them, fix them up, put anything you want to on them. Put them in shows. They just fun to decorate.
You've seen my dad before, and you've seen my brother-in-law Leonard. But we have a couple new people with us, some of the younger generation. This is Tayshawn behind me. Hello. And this is my nephew, little James.
Hello.
My uncle, he bought a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. He's had a couple of them, but this was the last one he bought.
There you go.
80 years old, he bought a Harley-Davidson motorcycle. And if you saw the picture I was talking about, I put it in the video for my Harley-Davidson story. There he is. Show it to you a little bit closer.
I used to ride on the back with him when I probably was 6 or 7 years old. I decided when I got big I was gonna get me a Harley, so that's what I always liked him ever since I was a little boy. And he's the one that got me into it. So.
You said about he took off one time and had to catch you by the leg.
Oh, he had the old hand shield, and when I remember where it was at. I was little. I don't see how I can remember that, but I do. Okay. And when he shifted gears, my feet flew up like that. They caught up under his arm, and I fell back on it. But I remember exactly where that was at, and I remember when it was at. But we lived in the country right up there ways, and we was on the Rock Road, and we used to come around through there. But I always loved them on Harleys. I remember, I can even remember the way that bike smelled because he used to clean it with his gunk stuff. All that stuff, it's in my mind. I can remember that. And I liked it ever since, and I still like it.
What color was it?
It was red.
Red?
It was red, yep.
Okay. Yeah. So it was a 1944 Harley 74. Do you remember where you bought it from?
Sanders Motorcycle on Central Avenue. Sanders Harley dealer or something.
In Knoxville?
Yeah, in Knoxville.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard of that guy. I think they had went out of business before I got big enough to get a motorcycle, but I've heard that name before.
Sure about that thing. And when I bought it, I'd never been on one, just riding with George, the other guy, a little bit. And I had to drive it home out of Knoxville, which I lived here about 9. And my sister hadn't drove much in the car. I had my car where I worked. So she had to drive the car. I scared death for her, and I was scared death on the motor. And I killed the motor one time on Cumberland Avenue. We got it into home. When I got home, then I said, why not buy that thing? So my dad and mother went to worry about it. So I played with it out there on the gravel road to the wall, and finally I got on the highway.
So what made you buy a Harley-Davidson motorcycle?
George Thomas, that buddy I...
Oh, in the picture?
Yeah. That's what he had. He had 3 brothers, and they was Thomas, what they was, and they lived in Robertson. They all 3 had the Harleys. So he got there one day, you ought to get one. And then Stone Callahawk had one, and he got talking to me about it. So as the years went by, every time I see one, I said, I want to ride me a Harley. So I finally broke down and bought that nowhere. Went on to that shop. That guy showed me about it. He took me around the block on it.
So was it a brand new Harley-Davidson?
No, it was used. After I had it a while, I was back over, I don't know how many years I had it, then that's when he come with the other one I got, was a later model. That Sonderford got me on the motor. He said, let me show you something. And we got on that motor, and he went up outside the road and stopped and got a brick and put it in the middle of the alley, rode that. Right. So went up there and he turned around and come back down through there, and I was behind him. He went straight over that brick that front end. That's when it
Hydroglide, yeah.
Hydroglide, okay. So he was
showing. He said, now you see, that's the motor you need. So it rides much easier. when they got hit.
I think that hydro drive probably was around a 57 or 58 or something like that. Because I think that's when the hydro drive come out, wasn't it?
Yeah, somewhere 3 years later had that.
See, they came out with the hydro glide, which had the shocks on the front. Then they finally came out with the dual glide. Okay, the dual glide was second. Sometime, it was a few years after the hydro glide. They come out with the hydro glide, the dual glide, they had the shocks in the back, and they come out with the electric glide, which was the shocks in the front and back, and electric start. And I know that was a 65.
What was the year of your first Harley-Davidson?
68.
68.
Electric glide.
Was yours brand new?
No, it had a few years. It was about a year or so old, and I was riding a little 350 Honda, and I never will forget old John Lundy. Most of the older guys had the Harley. I was a little young guy then, and he took me and said, "What's that? You need to buy you a motorcycle." That's what he said. So I said, "Okay." So me and him got on the motorcycle. We was going to Marstead, and John Lundy said, "You know what? I'm gonna let you ride my motorcycle. I'm gonna ride your motorcycle." He got on my little Honda, and we rode up Asheville Highway away. Came back to you. That's like riding a board. And he took his motorcycle, and he took his motorcycle back, and I got mine back. And that's when I went up there, and he showed me they introduced me to those Smokey called Harley-Davidson, and that's when I start gonna trade my little Honda in for that Harley.
For the blue one?
Yeah, the blue one, the one you sitting on in that picture.
Yeah, that's my sister. She's behind the camera. I don't know why she don't want to be on the camera, but she bought her first Harley-Davidson motorcycle from the same place that he bought his Harley-Davidson motorcycle. You're coming around, you might just go ahead and get you a chair and sit down. So, and this is my brother-in-law. Y'all know that Leonard. Well, go ahead.
Now I was going to ask about the story you told about in the garage going out there with the motorcycle.
Yeah, I can tell y'all that story. Walt probably don't even know about it. We was a little boy. It was me and Melvin, which is and my brother. Well, that's that other motorcycle last me bought. Walt used to keep it in the basement. But we used to go down in the basement, and we'd go through all them motions. You know, you turn the spark, and you turn the switch on, and you jump up on the starter, and we used to do it all the time. And the motorcycle, it didn't do nothing because it didn't start. But one day we went down there and did that. Everything must have been just right, because it started. We started to run. Then we turned around and come back and cut it off, but I never will forget that right there. Yeah,
you didn't know that.
Walt probably didn't even know it. I say we've been crazy about motorcycles since we were little kids. And all of us have owned them, you know, since them days. Melvin lives in Nashville now, and Roger, my brother up in North Carolina, and me, we've had the motor, and we liked them ever since we was kids, and we always fooled around them, always been around them.
I did the same thing, really. My father's in the garage. I had to get on his and pick it up and sit on this stuff. And then one day, it fell over and put a hole in the drywall in the garage because it fell over. I wasn't big enough to hold it nowhere. I'd get out there and play on the while my dad was at work and stuff. And that thing fell over, and the handlebar went through the drywall in the garage. Well, I fought. I got it back out there, though.
I know you got in trouble, didn't you?
No, I did.
Don't get any ideas. Motorcycles has always been in the family. His daughter, who is right over there, who not going to get on camera, right? She rode a motorcycle. My mama, who's right over there. Mama, you coming over here? No. She used to get on the back of my daddy's motorcycle. They would travel down to Daytona. And I said my sister there and my brother, he's not here right now, but motorcycles have been in the family for a long time. And one of the biggest things I like to do, I like to ride with family.
It's a good feeling to ride with your family. We went down to Daytona Beach, bike week, with family. We went down there, had a good time. They've seen some of the videos of it. I mean,
yeah. And you grew up in a Harley-Davidson family too.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happened, you know. My sister, she grew up in a Harley-Davidson family, but then she picks a husband that grew up in a Harley-Davidson family. So maybe that's why he was appealing to her. That's why I deal with him. No,
I think that what's best about the Harley-Davidson, what we were talking about earlier, that there's certain cosmetic changes they've made, but nothing drastic. This is a classic.
Yeah,
and it has
that's the good thing too.
Yeah.
You can show a picture that it's 44 and look at it today.
And tell us
and you can tell it's a Harley.
I just want to show you. Here's a picture of him when he was. I don't know if you can see that good. There you go. What year was this picture? 53.
52. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So that's his friends that was in the army there with him. So when I was a kid, my parents always told me to think outside the box. Don't let anybody confine you to a space and stop you from doing the things that you want to do. All right, guys, so yes, I was in a Harley-Davidson commercial, and most of you know that who watch the channel and subscribe to the channel. I will never forget that day. It was an awesome day. And I'm going to be talking about the day that Harley-Davidson came to shoot the commercial and the days leading up to it. But first, we'll roll the intro, and then when we come back, I'll get into everything. All right, roll the intro. All right, guys, so welcome back. By the way, if this is your first time visiting the channel, thank you for stopping by, clicking on the thumbnail. My name is Tall, and this is YouTube channel Traveling Tall. The channel is about motorcycles, test rides, tutorials, demos, product reviews, installations, and of course, traveling. So if those things interest you, make sure that you hit the subscribe button and turn on all notifications to be notified when videos are available. All right, so Harley-Davidson contacted me and they said that they wanted to do a rider profile story on me. I was so excited that they wanted to come film and that I was going to be in a Harley-Davidson commercial. You got to understand my relationship with Harley-Davidson. I grew up in a Harley-Davidson family. It was always a Harley around. And for Harley-Davidson to actually reach out to me, that was great. I just kept thinking about one thing, that I can't tell my story without my family, because my Harley-Davidson story did not begin with me. It didn't even begin with my dad. It started with my great uncle, who went and bought a Harley-Davidson right out of the service. And after he bought that Harley-Davidson, he took my dad for a ride as a little kid. My dad said he never forgets that very first ride that he took on that Harley. And from that ride, he knew that he wanted to own a Harley-Davidson. And when he got old enough, he bought one.
I decided when I got big, I was gonna get me a Harley, so that's what I always liked him ever since I was a little boy. And he's the one got me into it. But I always loved him on Harley. And I liked it ever since, and I still like it.
All right, so let me try to speed this up a little bit. So finally, the day has come when we are going to film the video. The truck and trailer pulls up in front of my house and they get out. He's like, hey, my name is Joe. I'm going to be shooting this video for you. And then Joe has two other camera guys with him. And they bring out this huge camera and they put it on the front of the SUV, and they have this big old joystick looking thing, and they're making the camera tilt up and down and sideways and whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, this is real. This is real. I didn't know how, I should have known it's Harley-Davidson, but I didn't know how serious this was until that moment. So now I'm a little nervous. I wasn't nervous up until that point. I was excited, but now I'm a little nervous. So anyway, they're getting everything set up and they said, hey, okay, Tall, we need you to put this microphone on. So they put this microphone on my belt and they run this wire up, this little clear wire up to my ear. And they said, can you hear me? So yes, I can hear you. So they said, put the helmet on. As soon as I put the helmet on, it knocked the earpiece out. So that didn't work. So they said, okay, tuck it in a little bit more, put it around your ear. I put the helmet on again, the earpiece fell out again. So we've had to put the earpiece in, put a little bit of tape on my ear right here, then put the helmet on, then it finally stayed. So they said, first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna go get a shot by the water. So we're gonna get all our cameras set up, and then we want you to just follow the instructions on the earpiece. At that time, my brother-in-law Leonard comes up and he rides behind us. So we go down to the University of Tennessee, right on the riverfront, on the Tennessee River. And they're getting everything situated and they're getting their cameras together, and they got this big old silver thing that they're holding up. They got these headsets on and all these different things. Then they mount the camera on the front of the SUV and they said, Tall, can you hear me? I said, yes, I can hear you. They said, okay, follow behind me. So I followed behind them, and then they said, okay, Tall, speed up. So I sped up. They said, okay, drop back. So I dropped back. They said, change lanes, and I changed lanes. They said, hold that pace. So I'm riding, trying to hold the pace, trying not to look at the camera, trying to keep my face straight, you know. And then we did that shot about 3 times, and they said, okay, it's time to go to the next location. So then the next location, we went up to the top of a parking garage where you can look out and see downtown Knoxville and the World's Fair Park, where it used to be, and the Sun Sphere, right on the top of the parking garage. After that scene, he says, all right, I want to get a shot of you going over the bridge. We go over to the next parking lot, and there's a bridge going over the Tennessee River that runs right through the middle of downtown. And he's standing on top of the hill. I have the earpiece in my ear. That's like, okay, Tall, go across the bridge, stay at that pace. So I go across the bridge, and then I turn around and come back. They said, okay, we need you to do it again. So I go across the bridge again and I turn around and come back. It's like, okay, that's a great shot. So then we take a ride through downtown Knoxville. We get done filming that and the film crew all come back to the house to regroup, to tell the family where we're gonna be and to go to the next location, which is actually about 45 miles away. This scene that I want to show you here is the family riding, and I'm in the car and I'm filming my family as we're going down the road to the next location. Now we pulled up at the next location. My uncle, my 95-year-old uncle, he's already there. His daughters is there with him. They have the picture of him on his first Harley-Davidson motorcycle, and we all pulled up. Now this is right across the street from US 129 Harley-Davidson, right on the Dragon, at the beginning of the Dragon, about a mile from the entrance to the Foothills Parkway and about 5-6 miles to the overlook of the Dragon. So we're all getting set up, getting ready to film this portion of the video. Keep in mind it was just going to be a quick pan of the family before they can be in the video just a split second. But Joe said, all right guys, let me get a shot with you where we're riding. So he puts the drone up in the air and he tells us to go out and take a right and all stay in formation and stay together. On the video you can't see the drone, but he has the drone following us to get a good shot as we're going down the road. You didn't see that shot in the video, but it was an awesome shot. Going up the Foothills Parkway there, you had this road, Foothills Parkway, you had Montvale Road, I think that's the name of it, and you had the lake in between. And they both ran parallel. So the camera truck got on the Foothills Parkway, we got on Montvale Road. They told me in the earpiece, they said go, told me when to go. So we're going, staying in formation, and they're filming on the other road across the lake with the trees in the middle of the lake, and that was just a beautiful shot. And they had the drone up at the same time. So I knew that was gonna be a great shot. That's actually one of my favorite shots. Joe and the guys, they pulled over the SUV, they open up the back, and Joe gets inside of the back of the SUV. He sits in, crosses his legs, they hand him this camera with like 2 handles on the side, and he's holding it there in the back of the SUV. And he's kind of like strapped in or something that kind of hold him still. And they said, okay, Tall, what I want you to do, get your family into formation and we're going to go through, just stay with the SUV as we go through. So at this point, we ride over to shoot the scene where I'm sitting on the motorcycle and I'm talking and I'm telling my story. So we go over there and shoot the scene and we're right in front of a barn and in front of a farm. It's really nice scenery. The sun's kind of going down a little bit. So now I'm telling them my story. I'm telling them about how I feel when I ride the motorcycle. I told them, I'm grateful and I thank God every day to be able to share this passion with my family. So we sat there and talked about 10 minutes and they's like, okay, we got everything we need. Let's wrap up and go to the next location. And if you watch the channel, you've seen me on the Foothills Parkway before. You've seen all the bridges that go over the top of the mountains. Beautiful scenery there. So we leave and go there and they said, okay, they sent the drone up in the air. They said, go down the road, turn around and come back. And I'd go down the road, turn around and come back. And then they say, okay, we're gonna get another shot. So Joe and the guys climb up through the woods at the top of the mountain, through the trees, and they're looking down at the road there. I don't even think they use that footage, but they're looking down at the road as I'm going past. And what was so cool, I could hear it on the thing. It's like, Tall's coming, here he comes. He's coming around the corner, he's on his way. Now, I parked the bike over on the side and we're just sitting there. And the guys take the camera and they're looking at the bike, kind of going over it, getting some shots of the bike. So the end scene, you see that I'm sitting there just looking out over the mountain, sitting on the bike, enjoying the sunset. I was like, wow, this is real. This really happened. And I was so grateful, not just because Harley-Davidson came to film the video. I just knew how much it meant to my dad and my great uncle. And also to have this opportunity for my family to be in a video that we can have forever. Now I make YouTube videos, but these guys are professionals. To have a video that we will always have of our family doing what we love, that I was just grateful for that. It's a day that I'll never forget. Okay guys, so that's it. Thank you for allowing me to share my story with you, and thank you for allowing my family to share their story. And don't forget to comment on your favorite part of this video. Check out all the videos in the video tab. There's over 200 videos to choose from. Thanks again for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Keep gliding, and as always, have a blessed day. It's a beautiful day. Colorado, look at this. Well, let me show you what's behind me. Well, what's in front of me. Look at that. This was so worth the trip. I mean, this is awesome. I've never seen anything like this. It's absolutely beautiful. I am in Virginia City.
Something. Finally got to see it. Had a lot of years. I should have been here a long time ago.